Hello everyone, it is Jayden and welcome to The Alpha, the show where we talk about the hottest topics in pop culture and sports. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button on the video, and if you enjoy my commentary and myself truly as always, be sure to tap that subscribe button and to hit that notification bell to get notified when all my videos go live. I love you guys so much. Peace, love, and positivity always, y'all. See ya. Roller coaster, to say the least, and that's putting it very mildly. So much talent, so much to fall in love with. First round pick, fourth overall pick in the 2020. I want to say it was the 2022 NFL draft, if I'm totally not mistaken. Might have been 23. He's going into his third season. So I want to say it was might have been 2023. But coming out of Florida, not a lot of experience. And the Indianapolis Colts was up for a quarterback. They've been through Carson Wentz. They've been through Matt Ryan. And they felt like they were finally going to get their guy. But it seems that isn't going to be the case. So if you guys have not known it yet, Mr. Mr. Anthony Richardson was outdueled by Danny Dimes himself. And as you can see in the lower third, I call him Mr. Indiana Jones. It was a nickname going out for Daniel Jones yesterday. Instead of calling him Danny Dimes, even though my nickname for him was Danny Pennies, they're going to call him Indiana Jones now. That's the whole new nickname they got going for Daniel Jones at the moment. So we were going to call the man Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones outduels Anthony Richardson. The coach for the Indianapolis Colts came out in a press conference yesterday and announced that Daniel Jones will be the quarterback one for the Indianapolis Colts. Shane Steichen was the one who confirmed that in a post-game, well, not a post-game, but pretty much a post-practice press conference, so to say. What does this mean for Anthony Richardson's future? Before we get directly into Anthony Richardson's future, let's focus on Anthony Richardson himself. He has shown flashes that he can be good in this league. He can be serviceable. He hasn't shown that he is going to be your franchise quarterback, but he has shown moments where he looks like he can play football. There's specifically been games in the past where Anthony Richardson has had great games. There's been a couple of throws this preseason to where he has made some exceptional throws. Specifically the one that he had over the weekend. Right side of the field, deep ball, 40, 50 yards down the field, dropped it in the bucket over the shoulder for the wide receiver. Great throw. But he just doesn't do it consistently. There has been a lot of anonymous sources that have gave information to beat writers and reporters, and it's supposedly anonymous executives around the league. And they have said on numerous occasions that they did not think and do not think he ever will be able to command the quarterback position just because he is lacking in so many areas. He is not technically sound. He does not throw an accurate football consistently. Those two things are things that are not easy to pretty much, what's the word I'm looking for here? Learn and master in the NFL. Something that, and I always bring up this when it comes to Jalen Hurts. Nick Saban knew Jalen Hurts was lacking the passing game in his arsenal in college. So what did Nick Saban do? Nick Saban said, if you cannot pass the football, you are not going to be able to make it to the next level. So when he transferred to Oklahoma, got with Lincoln Riley, all of that changed. And now we see where Jalen Hurts is at today. He is a Super Bowl champion. And we're going to talk about something else too. Shane Steichen was the coach that helped propel Jalen Hurts into the player that he ultimately has become. Because we know the first two seasons with Jalen Hurts under the helm for the Philadelphia Eagles, it wasn't so hot. He took him to the playoffs, 9-7, wild card. But even in that playoff game, The Philadelphia Eagles were not thinking that Jalen Hurts, and many people in the media at the time did not think Jalen Hurts was capable enough of winning a championship. But we're going to save that for later on. But first, let's just finish off with Anthony Richardson. He's just not consistent enough to play the quarterback position in this league. And it is something that Shane Steichen used as an indictment against Anthony Richardson in the press conference because, and I don't have the audio for it, he simply said he went with Daniel Jones because Daniel Jones is the more consistent quarterback at the moment. That is something that Anthony Richardson very much lacks. And something else that Shane Steichen and the organization probably put into perspective too, Anthony Richardson has mostly been a negative since he has been in the league. When we go from the podcast interviews where he's made some controversial statements about the NFL being easier than college, he made those coming out of the draft and going into his first year. He's been very injury prone. He can't stay on the field, had to have shoulder surgery. Even going into the season this year, going into the preseason, there was a whole lot of questions going on to see about his health, to see if he was going to be healthy because he was having so many shoulder issues. And then lastly, we all know the play that he had last year where he pretty much tapped his head and took himself out of the game. Something that we have never seen a quarterback do at their position. So Anthony Richardson has not shown a lot of positives on the ball field to warrant him being in the consideration for the quarterback one role in Indianapolis. Now let's get exactly to the Shane Steichen part of it. And this is something that is another indictment against Anthony Richardson as well. Coming out of college, Anthony Richardson for me was obviously a Cam Newton comp. Run first type of quarterback, didn't pass it super consistently, but he was able to make plays when he needed to make plays. Obviously, Anthony Richardson was not on the Heisman level like Cam Newton was, but he was a freakishly athletic talent coming out of the draft, and it is easily that his comp was Cam Newton. Same build, big arm, can run the football, Cam Newton 2.0. But would he be able to live up to the type of talent that Cam Newton was? And that seems to not be the case. But how Shane Steichen comes into play in this conversation, and I foreshadowed it a while ago. Jalen Hurts, the Super Bowl winning quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles. Before they won the Super Bowl, and when they did go to the Super Bowl and lost to the Chiefs the first time, who was the quarterback at the time for the Philadelphia? Sorry, who was the offensive coordinator at the time for the Philadelphia Eagles? That will be Shane Steichen, who propelled Jalen Hurts to the quarterback that he has become. So when Shane Steichen was hired as the head coach for the Indianapolis Colts, he had the consideration for the draft pick. He had a say-so. That is the reason why Anthony Richardson was ultimately the pick, and how a lot of people like me, many people in the media, and even the Indianapolis Colts themselves were pretty sure of themselves that Shane Steichen can turn Anthony Richardson into what Jalen Hurts was. For an offense that is pretty much identical to the Philadelphia Eagles. Run first, pass when necessary. But what does Anthony Richardson lack? He does not throw the ball consistently. He averages in his whole career so far a 50% completion rate. Ask anybody in the NFL, any type of executive, owner, former GMs, former players. If you got a quarterback that is throwing the ball with a completion percentage under 50%, under 60%, they're not going to be in the league long. they're not going to be in the league for a very long time. That is what Anthony Richardson is up against. But I don't think this is on Shane Steichen. I really don't. Because Anthony Richardson, outside of the X's and O's, has not shown that he can be a franchise quarterback and be the quarterback one. First preseason game, we all saw the viral play where Anthony Richardson got clobbered off the edge. It was totally his fault. The guy that was coming in free, he was hot. The two guys in the flat on the right side of the ball field were wide open. But Anthony Richardson was staring off at the left side of the field, didn't see the guy coming in on his blind side, and got clobbered. And every single person in the media said that it was Anthony Richardson's fault because the defender was hot. If you see him hot, you should have thrown a check down to the tight end or to the running back. They were wide open. Anthony Richardson done neither. He has taken unnecessary shots throughout his career. That's the reason why so far in his NFL career, he's been hurt with shoulder injuries because he takes unnecessary shots, unnecessary punishment. That is the reason why Cam Newton's career did not last as long as he would have liked. He does not throw the ball accurately, consistently. He isn't technically sound. All of this are things that Shane Steichen inevitably cannot fix. Because if you cannot throw accurate football, number one, in the NFL, you can't teach accuracy. You cannot coach accuracy. They either have it at the moment in the NFL or you don't. We do not have time to baby Anthony Richardson into throwing an accurate football. It's just not going to happen. So Shane Steichen made what he felt like was the best decision for the Indianapolis Colts and going with Daniel Jones because he felt Daniel Jones was more consistent. So with that being the case, let's finally answer the question. What does this mean for Anthony Richardson's future? And to put it into perspective, I even saved the post on Instagram. Anthony Richardson is very young. Very young. He is the same age as Shedeur Sanders. He is younger than Bo Nix. He is basically younger than Caleb Williams. He's younger than Dylan Gabriel. He's younger than Will Howard. He is younger than Michael Penix. And he is younger than Tyler Shuck. So Anthony Richardson is very young, and the Colts have pulled the plug on him at that age. Going into your third year. Haven't played many games. If I'm not mistaken, I don't think he's played a full 12 games, maybe 10 to 12 games yet in his career. In the 2 years that he's had so far, going into his third year. This is talking about regular season games. So if you are a first round pick, fourth overall pick, and the head coach in the organization, because I know Shane Steichen had some type of conversations with the owner and the GM before he made this decision. And if they agreed and put the okay, gave the okay to Shane Steichen to pull the plug on Anthony Richardson, and Shane Steichen made the comment that this ain't no temporary type thing, Daniel Jones is going to be here permanently, they gave up on Anthony Richardson. So that pulls into the, what does this mean for his future? Trade scenarios. I don't know if the Colts are looking at him as a failed product. I don't know if they've truly given up on him. He's super young. He's got 3 more years essentially left on his contract if they pick up his 5th-year option. Me personally, I wouldn't trade him. I wouldn't totally give up on the kid unless you could get a first-round pick out of him, which is not going to happen whatsoever. So I don't see the point in moving on from Anthony Richardson. Maybe he can continue to get better. It's only going into his 3rd year. Maybe he could continue to mature. I don't know. But some possible teams that I've thrown around that he could possibly get traded to. Minnesota. Go and join J.J. McCarthy, Kevin O'Connell and the guys. Kevin O'Connell, the quarterback guru who turned Sam Darnold's career around. Maybe he could do the same thing for Anthony Richardson. That would be great. Sean McVay, Matt Stafford. What he done for Matt Stafford's career? He went from Matt Stafford looked like one of those quarterbacks who were like, he will never win anything. He's one of the most talented guys, but he's never going to win anything, to ultimately becoming a quarterback to be able to propel his team to winning a championship. Maybe you can join that type of Sean McVay-led group, or maybe Pittsburgh. We know Pittsburgh has not been the greatest at grooming quarterbacks. They're about to have another chance to hack at it right here with Aaron Rodgers. But it's a young security blanket type of move when you do not have any other options when you move on from Aaron Rodgers, even though Will Howard is there. But you could bring Anthony Richardson on for any type of quarterback duel when it pertains to Will Howard. So those are just some names of teams that I came to mind and that, would be in consideration when it pertains to Anthony Richardson. But it is a bad situation for Anthony Richardson. I do not see a scenario where it is going to be easy for him to come out of this situation, given that they pulled the plug on him. For a guy in Daniel Jones that signed a 4-year, $120 million contract with the Giants, and Saquon Barkley was there at the time, and they decided to pay Daniel Jones, and they let Saquon Barkley walk, and in 2 years, not even 2 years, they released Daniel Jones midseason. After they gave him that contract. That is the guy who you got benched for. Anthony Richardson needs to look at himself in the mirror. Take this as a learning lesson. Maybe force yourself to get better, because this is not a good look whatsoever. And if he doesn't turn it around at some point, we know he's super talented and a lot of people will take risk on him. But Anthony Richardson really might be in danger of being one of the worst quarterbacks drafted in the first round since the Jamarcus Russells of the world. He might be in that territory. We're just going to have to wait and see how it plays out. I do not wish that on him. But Anthony Richardson has to get it together, because he is, granted, there wasn't really high expectations for him, but boy, has he set the bar low so far in his NFL career. What do you guys think? Do you guys ultimately agree with me when it pertains to Anthony Richardson? Do you think that his time in Indianapolis is over? Do you think that he deserves a second chance on the Indianapolis Colts? Should the Colts keep him? I want to know all of your comments down below.